Hey, everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. Today's guest is Allmax Athlete, IFBB Pro Josh Wade, author of the monthly column Relentless Pursuit in Muscular Development Magazine. Please welcome from Northern California, Josh Wade. What's up, Josh?
How's it going, Ron?
Yeah.
Good. It's going to be good to talk with all your fans, everybody out there are online. We always support muscular development.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. So I want to know what's been going on because, geez, you do your column every month, and I want everyone to know Josh actually writes his column, which I appreciate. Does a hell of a job. It's not a ghostwritten column. I have nothing to do with it, thank God. And but we haven't really talked about what you're up to lately. So the last we heard, you won a show. You had your first pro win last fall. I don't think we've talked on the record since then. So I saw you in Chicago. You got top 10 in that, and then Legion Pro. They did a master show, and you were the winner of that. So what have you been up to since then? Actually, let's go back. What was it like to get your first pro win? I know it was a master show, but you know what? First place is first place. Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I mean, everybody that knows me, follows my column, or listens to you, or that knows me in person knows that as a lot of the guys, but I'm all about family. And my wife taught me family. I was brought up with a pretty hard upbringing. There was, I think there was, I don't think ever I was told, that by my parents that we love you. It was hard, and times were different then. I think a lot of parents, a lot of people in my generation, I'm 41, a lot of the parents were the same. It was really hard. It wasn't the same emotional type parenting that I feel like I do with my kids, or a lot of people I know do with their kids. Yeah. Believe me, I'm not making my kids soft, but I still want to show them how loved they are. Yeah. And it's just different. I don't know why it's different, but I love them. So everybody knows that about me. And so, at the Legion, for one, it's a 2-hour drive for me. So that was a show that once Chris decided to have it and move it from Palm Springs, where the Frigno Legacy was when I first competed there in 2017, yep. He moved it to Reno, which is a 2-hour drive for me. It was done deal. There was no way I was going to miss that, which was my local home show. Well, originally it was supposed to be an open men's bodybuilding, right? But he lost his sponsor, could not have the sanction fees or the prize money. So I kind of already committed to my friends that are here locally that I was going to do it. And so even though it became a master's show, prize money was $1,000, which you spend more money on hotel rooms and the $350 we spent for our kids at the arcade that weekend. So, it's always, and that's one thing I want to talk about here today too. Bodybuilding even as a professional bodybuilder, it's for passion. It's for the joy, because we pretty much take a loss of income almost anytime we ever compete. And part of the reason that I'm uncertain or indecisive about my future or what might be coming up, which we'll talk more about. But as far as answering the question, it was a joy. I was going to do that show no matter what. And I think I would have placed very well in an open show if it had been open. Even Tyler Mannion told me after that show, this is the best I've ever looked. So he told me, because I talked to him, it's like, I might not compete again after this. And he was like, if you go out like this, and you can really have a lot of pride in what you've done, because it's the best I've ever seen you. So it's like, with that thought in my mind, was like, oh, geez, what do I do now? Right. So the indecisiveness. And kind of part of the reason, when our readers look into, I think it was a June column that I just wrote. Yeah. Part of the reason we're having this conversation is because of what I wrote my column on. And, I don't want to give away too much, but, I'm undecided as far as my future. And there'll be many reasons that we can talk about why. And I think it will relate to a lot of people that, have any doubt about life after bodybuilding or whatever it might be, or how long you've been doing it. And maybe it'll give some people some clarity or some rationale that we have the same thoughts. No matter what level you reach in bodybuilding, it becomes your lifestyle no matter what. But again, jumping around, me, when I do my interviews, I jump around, but I always come back to you, Ron.
Okay.
So, that was an amazing experience. My whole family was able to be there. A lot of friends locally, even though we had that limited crowd, even last October, but he still had some crowd. Chris Menes always tries to do everything he can for the athletes, and I will give him that all day long. He tries, and it's not just based on income or trying to get seats filled. he tries to do what's right for the athletes as an athlete himself.
Right.
So, I mean, it was a big joy, not to mention it was literally pretty much almost exactly 14 years after I started my career.
Oh, wow.
So I started competing November of 2006, and October of 2020 was my last show, 14 years.
Wow.
So getting that win in front of my home crowd, my friends, my family, it meant a lot. And it meant a lot for my kids to be there. And my kids have been to probably maybe a handful of my shows. And every time I hear them in the audience, it's like the only time you see me smile on stage. So it meant a lot, Ron. And I mean, that's pretty much after that kind of is undecided.
Yeah, it's a good thing because Reno is 2-hour drive from you. If the show had been where he was having it before in Long Beach, would that be like an 8-hour drive for you?
Yeah, it's pretty much an 8-hour drive. I mean, it's obviously beyond LA, which is a 6-hour drive. Whether we would have driven or flown, I mean, I probably would have done it still, but given that it was in my backyard, I don't even have to, I mean, I really don't have to stay long. I don't have to worry about a flight, packing food. It's a lot quicker when you're, the next day you're there and you don't have to worry about flight, altitude, elevation, losing water once you land, etc.
You competed, I don't know if was it the Golden State or the Cal? A couple times you competed. Was it right there in Sacramento?
Yeah, Sacramento is, so I mean, it's basically a 20-minute drive just downtown. They only had the Golden State, my pro debut.
Yeah.
That was the only time that I got a chance to do it. I got 5th in my pro debut.
That's right.
And that was when Justin Compton winning, Ronald Gary, Kevin Jordan. I beat Brandon Curry.
I was going to say that Brandon only got 8th in that show.
Yeah, Brandon was in that show, and obviously, we what we know about Brandon. I don't think his focus was always 100% there, yeah. And then once he basically had that 100% focus, where that's all he was going to do, we know. I mean, obviously, he was called a prodigy for a reason when he was an amateur.
True.
I mean, because he had the gifts. It just became the work ethic, and once I think he was forced to put in that work, you saw what happened. And Brandon's always been a good guy. It just a little kudos out to Brandon. The 2017 Ferrigno Legacy, where what was now the Legion, that I competed against Brandon and Cedric McMillan. Oh, wow. And that was kind of the show that put me on the map. I got 3rd behind those two guys.
Nice.
And that's where Tamer El Gundy, Tamer got, I think, slammed a little bit because I was not known, but he rewarded me for my condition, and he knows how much work that was put in. So I got 3rd behind Brandon won, Cedric got 2nd. Most people said I should have beat Cedric at that point. Yeah. But anyway, so with that placing, when we were backstage, Brandon said, "Man, I've been following you. You've really come up." And so those things stick with me. Steve Kuklo said the same thing to me when I was an amateur. And I respect guys like that. We're giving a compliment to somebody that they don't need to. And it does make us feel good. It made me feel great that, wow, Brandon Curry, which, I mean, yes, I beat him my pro debut, but now it's like, wow, that it shows respect. And that's why I've always loved to support the sport, because of the camaraderie that the pros really do have. I mean, the majority of them they're you compete, you train everything by yourself, but all the work is done by the time you get to stage. It's out of your hands. Right. So there's no reason for people to be egotistical or cocky. I mean, it's a camaraderie. I mean, it is a band of brothers in iron once the work is done, and then the rest is out of your hands.
So you turned pro in 2016 at the Team Universe as a Masters, which, the only other person that's done that and done anything as a pro is John Meadows, and you've done a lot more. I mean, I want to run down.
Well, my coach.
Your coach, exactly.
When I started with John Meadows in 2015, which was the year he won the overall, he said, "Let's go win Team U." And so I piggybacked off him. The following year, I won the overall, and it meant a lot to him for me to win it there the year after he won it. And for us kind of long veterans, him obviously a lot longer than me, me 10 years as an amateur, him a lot longer. Oh, yeah. But for us to finally get it, it meant a lot to him for me to get it there as well. And I wanted it wherever I got it. So.
And your pro debut was what, like a month later, not even?
Yeah, correct. It was about, I think it was 4 to 6 weeks later, something. But again, that was in my hometown. I got 5th, top 5. And again, you know, I mean, everyone knows me. Mine's, you know, mine not been structure or shape, my conditioning, and I've done everything I could with my shape and my God-given structure.
Yeah.
But conditioning is one thing I can always control, and I would never, you know, I would never show up not like I've given my all.
In fact, I want to run down the track record for people because you've done, from what I saw on musclememory.com, great website, everybody, 17 pro shows. Does that sound right? 10 times in the top 5 out of those 17 and 1 pro win. So highlights here, 2016, you did that Golden State Pro debut. That was 5th place. 2017, you got 3rd at the Ferrigno, 3rd at the Vancouver Pro. Next year, 2018, 4th at the Cal Pro, 4th at the New York Pro. And that's when I really took notice of you because your condition was just crazy at that show. I really didn't know who you were, but they started moving you into the call-outs. I was like, who is this guy? Why are they moving? And then I said, oh, okay. A lot of muscle and just grainy detail, dry condition. You beat at that New York Pro, Jonathan De La Rosa, Rafael Brandeo, Max Charles, and Akeem Williams. Just some of the people you beat at that. 2019, Cal Pro, 3rd place again, 3rd place in Toronto, 5th place in Vancouver. That was the Hadi Chupon year, right?
Correct. Hadi, Nathan Diashaw. Yeah, I mean, it was again, it's a very competitive top 5. Shit, every time I've done Vancouver, it's been a straight condition show. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's good.
So, and last year you did the Chicago and the Legion, and right now, so where are you at? I mean, looking at your face and everything, you look, but then again, I've never seen a picture where you're remotely out of shape. To me, you always look like you're within like 10, 15 pounds of contest condition. So what's going on with you right now?
You know, I mean, if 10, 15 pounds really, but yeah, I mean, for me, I always like to stay in shape. I'm very active. You know, I mean, I trained 9 clients in a row, so 9 hours straight this morning before this interview right now. And now I don't train on Wednesdays. I'll talk about how my training is different a little bit. But I mean, that's my day. I mean, I'm on my feet 12 hours a day. I'm always active. Metabolism is always rev. I've always eaten like a professional bodybuilder, even when I was an amateur. So my frequent feedings, my clean, consistent food, you know, I come to work, I got to bring my meals. So I eat, I train for 3 clients. I eat again, I train 3 clients. So I don't have time to go out, go get fast food, go get junk food. So the majority of my time during the week, especially since I am so busy at work, I keep clean bodybuilding foods, and I always have. And that keeps me in pretty good shape to where the off season, which, you know, I mean, I might have a couple cheat meals a week, mainly on the weekends with the family. And that's always pretty much kept me in shape. But what I'm doing now, you know, I mean, I'm not sure if I'm going to come back to the stage, Ron. There's, you know, I mean, I'll talk about what's going on that I think a lot of people relate to this year.
Yeah.
But with that being said, with me being uncertain on what I want to do, I want to play football with my kids. I want to be able to run. I've kind of started running, and then I hurt my foot. I guess I'm not made to run. But you know, like, I mean, all the things that I've tried to do. So what I do, and I think this part right here will benefit a lot of people as they approach an off season, or not. So like, I'll keep my base calories maybe lower than what they would need to be. So for example, most of my meals now are like 6 ounces cooked meat and normally only like 1 cup cooked rice. So 150 grams, basically 50 grams of carbs per meal. Wow. So like that's pretty much the majority of my meals during the day are those portions, whether it be beef, whether it be chicken. But being somewhat in a calorie deficit from clean foods, it gives me a lot more wiggle room to have, you know, some cheats a night, a bowl of cereal, an ice cream sandwich, you know, like, I mean, some things in the evening, and then obviously on the weekends, I can be even more relaxed. So that's how I stay in shape if I'm not trying to specifically grow or not trying to specifically cut. So that's the easiest way for me to maintain. I keep good, clean, decent calories the majority of the time, but lower than what they would be if I ate that way 100% of the time. So it's almost like eating like a normal person, an average person, like an average client of mine that I set up on a diet. I set their clean base meal plan up lower calories than they would actually need to be if they stuck with that 100% of the time, knowing that they're not going to stick with it 100% of the time. So if I want clients to get results, I'll keep them, when they do eat perfect, it's going to be lower calories than they should eat. Gotcha. But I know they're going to have other things, and overall, they're going to get results by doing that. So I'm living my life that same way right now. Instead of in the years past, I would have very limited cheat meals in the off season because I'm focused on all quality nutrients and growing. Everybody knows that, and if people talk shit about me all the time for not having the best genetics or shape or structure. It's like, yeah, but I've done everything I can because I've tried to do everything to be a professional bodybuilder for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
So I've made more out of my physique than anybody thought possible, including myself, because I ate exactly what I was supposed to. If I'm trying to build, I'm eating 2 cups of rice and I'm not having any cheat meals because I know where my calories are coming from. Now I can judge, okay, do I need to increase calories because I'm not gaining? Well, it's a lot easier to maintain than it is to grow. As most people that have the muscle tissue know, it doesn't have to be perfect to maintain. You don't have to train to failure on every set and every rep to maintain. And that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Those portion sizes sound like they would be inadequate for someone. I'm looking at you. I'm trying to figure. I'm going to guess your weight. Let's see how I do. I'm going to say 263.
No, I'm anywhere between 247 and 253.
Still, it's not a lot of food. It sounds like. Yeah.
Well, I tell you, after dinner, my average calorie consumption after dinner is probably upwards of 1,200 to 1,500 calories.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so that's where I get my cereal and my ice cream sandwiches.
Okay. Now it makes sense.
I kind of eat with the kids, and I'm enjoying something that I really have not done in over 14 years of competing. I won't let myself do that. On the weekends I might have a cheat meal, but I'm not having things in the evening. So that's kind of what's maintaining me, I guess, really. And yes, with the amount of muscle tissue I have, it's easier to maintain. My metabolism, because I eat frequent meals throughout the day, still stays revved up to where my body will burn off those extra calories. I still do. I do cardio most mornings. I got to be at the gym to open the gym at 4:30. And my first client, I don't start my first client until 6. So, I've pretty much been doing like 45 minutes of cardio most of the time, Monday through Friday. And until recently, I've been trying to get a faster mile time. So I do like 3+ miles every morning. And I was clipping away to like my fastest mile was 8:49, which is not that fast. It's 6.8 miles an hour for a consistent mile.
Yeah.
But I just, as Dorian Yates, when Dorian Yates stopped competing, he stopped training because he already reached that pinnacle. He was, have benched in 405, doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
He could not see himself doing less than that. That was his mind frame. I've always been brought up on the Dorian Yates mind frame. I know I get the physical appearance comparisons sometimes. But realistically, it's a mind fuck. It really is. It's tough. How do I eat? How do I train if I'm not going to compete? And I'm not certain, but I've really realized through this last year, and a lot of people through the COVID restrictions and lockdowns and bullshit that they've actually tried to put people through, that my financial future is a little more important now to my family than maybe me taking time or income away from my family to compete and get on stage.
True.
And that it's personal.
It's just to get on that topic about, Dorian had no problem downsizing and becoming athletic and functional because he'd already been 300 pounds for many years and this and that. And you talk, people will talk shit. If any pro retires and loses any amount of size, they immediately start talking shit. But this is a good way to think about it that I don't know if they would even understand it, but this is a job. Maintaining all that muscle mass, that's a full-time job, especially with the eating, the training, the supplements, everything. It's a lot of work. If you quit your job, say, if you retired from your job after 20 years, would you still show up and work 8 hours every day? You're not getting paid anymore. Why would you? So that's a good way to look at it as far as that I heard.
Yeah, and it's not, obviously people that have been competing as long as I have or started before the social media era frenzy, we did it for the love of the iron, the love of improvements, and the pure internal challenge to see how much better you can get every day, every week, every year. It wasn't for posting. We didn't have social media in 2006 when I started. No. It was about, man, those magazines. I want to look like that guy. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to push myself every day to make sure I'm improving. I mean, so that's what's a lot has changed. So with our mind frame, the way that we came up to do that, iron is in our blood when you actually train. Like I remember seeing Branch Warren. I can't quote exactly how he said it, but he competed because he trained. He didn't train to compete.
Yeah.
And that's how, I mean, a lot of us guys that started with the iron back in the 90s. That's how we built it up. We competed because we were training.
Right.
So we didn't train to compete. We competed because we were training.
And
so that's not
you didn't do one show, and well, there was nowhere to post, but you didn't do one show and post hashtag going pro on every post you made after that. I hate that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a realist as well, and I know how far I can go. And I mean, I made the Olympia in 2018.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the pinnacle of our sport. That not many people can say that they have. So, I mean, and I mean, I'm a realist. I'm probably not going to be any higher than top 16 at the Olympia. And so, at what point do you keep going is kind of where I'm at, and that's why like the indecisiveness is kind of a little tough right now, because if I'm not eating and training to grow, if I do decide to get back on stage in a year, will I have improvements? Probably not.
Yeah.
Well,
that's let's be realistic. I want to know how you really feel, because we 43 now, 44. How old are you now?
I'm 41. Thanks, Ron.
41. It's everything under 50 is like a kid to me anyway, but still. Yeah. So, I mean, you've been at this a while. Your physique, you've taken your physique. I mean, if anyone ever sees the pictures of you when you started, my God, you could fit like 4 of those into what you look like now. You've made so much improvements. I have to wonder, realistically, how much more can you improve at this point if you really decided? And are you willing to do what it would take? I mean, how are your joints holding up and everything? Because that's the thing I don't think a lot of people understand, is the training takes a toll on the joints after many years too.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, really, besides some patella tendonitis, even though, I mean, I squat 585, 4 reps. I mean, my legs are really strong. They always have been. So besides some of that,
yeah,
the only thing that's given me problem really, I mean, my right shoulder has been scoped. My left tricep tendon is being reattached, and those are all feeling pretty good. My left shoulder has been giving me problems for a couple of years. There's some calcification on the AC joint. I think I have a minor tear in, I believe it's the infraspinatus. And so I changed my training to slow things down and not go as heavy on those. Yeah. And so I've been able to make it through. So all in all, I'm not too bad joint wise, but I don't want to be either. That's the thing. I have young kids, and I coach their sports, and I want to be able to run with them. And, and so a couple of things, I have always believed in life after bodybuilding. Mm-hmm. I didn't really know what that meant. I mostly meant health. My health is perfect. I have no plaque in I'm on the coronary calcium score test. I have a 1. So basically,
you beat me. I have a 9.
Mild. Yeah, 11 to 100 is mild plaque burden. I was a 1.
Nice.
So I don't have any plaque burden. I mean, Dante Trudell says I'm more likely to get struck by lightning than have a heart attack. So I mean, that's a good thing. So I know life after bodybuilding for me was mainly about health. I didn't realize life after bodybuilding would be so tough on the psyche. What do I do? How do I train? Do I still train the same? I love the iron. I mean, what am I going to do? Right. So like, I mean, it's, do I have a new chapter? Like, what is my next challenge? I mean, I think all of us that have been so goal orientated have a tough time without a challenge. Yeah. So, I mean, like, what is my challenge? I can't stay stagnant. So I've really been focusing a lot on business, trying to get that built up. Because again, what matters most to me is my financial future for myself, my family, and one day being able to retire. Yeah. I mean, for a long time, luckily, I mean, I've done well. I mean, I was a plumber for 10 years when I started competing. So, I mean, I've always had the work ethic. I always know how to work hard. And if I want something, I'm willing to go get it. And that's kind of where it came down to. It's like, okay, I mean, there's a lot of new, young, and more up and comers in the sport of bodybuilding. I mean, I'm watching Hunter really improve, and I like Hunter personally as well, because He's a good guy, good head on his shoulders. I mean, there's a lot of younger guys.
Nick Walker.
Yeah, Nick Walker. Okay. I mean, obviously because of Iron Rebel, I knew Nick and Nick knew me, but Chicago Pro was the first time that I met Nick. And, he came up to me right after weigh-ins, we basically shook hands and everything was great. And I talked to him during that weekend, and at finals, he invited me out. I travel by myself for those events because it's hard to take my wife and my kids.
Yeah.
So he invited me to dinner with him and his family.
Oh, wow.
and Matt at the time. And I got back to the hotel room. I said, man, I appreciate it. Thank you. But go spend time with your family. Mm-hmm. So just dude, really respectful, young guy, super good future. Again, I hate seeing people knock somebody for no reason. I see the comments, and I mean, they've been hurtful to me. So I understand, when I just don't understand the reason that people want to talk shit, for no reason and try to bring somebody down when Nick's a good dude and still people want to, talk shit about it. It's blocky waist or genetic flaws that you can't change. And I got hounded for that same exact thing.
Yeah.
So Nick's great. I mean, I really respect him. I told him I'm really rooting for him in his future. No, and like I told you with the story when when Steve Kuklo made a comment or Brandon Curry made a comment, again, those things resonate with me. That shows character when you don't have to do that. And those are the guys I'm always going to root for.
Yeah. You know what, you talk about what the fans, what they appreciate, what they don't. I mean, people with great genetics, it's cool to see them and everything, but I've known so many guys that just coasted on genetics and never fulfilled their potential. They could have been great. Like up until a few years ago, that was Brandon Curry, as far as I was concerned. I said, yep. I actually got, I hate to use the word disgusted, but disappointed a lot of these guys, I just gave up on them. Like they just don't have it here. They don't have the heart. They don't have the discipline, the drive. They have all the genetics in the world. And then I see guys like you in particular, I have a great deal of respect for, because you were never meant to be a pro bodybuilder. You were never meant to be like top 3 at all these shows, win a show. But you worked hard and long, and you got the most out of it. I'd rather see, even if I can appreciate these freaky physiques that have the perfect shape and beautiful structure and all that given from God, I personally get more motivated by someone like you, because I think everyone out there should be able to relate more to someone who has, you don't have bad genetics, Josh. You wouldn't look like this if you had bad genetics, but
right.
Compared to like a Flex Wheeler or a big Rami or something, you don't have genetics like that. So I think the average fan should, give a lot more appreciation, a lot more respect for someone who worked so much harder and took genetics that weren't that great and still you're able to stand next to these guys. To stand on the Olympia stage, period. That's a dream where 99 make about 1,000 more nines. 99.9999% of people will never, ever get near the Olympia stage. To be able to qualify and stand on that stage, regardless of where you place, that's an accomplishment. I don't care. And, look at, you've beaten some amazing guys because you worked hard and you got into better condition. They just didn't, these guys, I'm not going to throw them under the bus, but Jonathan, better genetics, Raphael, better genetics, Max Charles, these guys are genetic gods, I mean, look at them. But you came in there and you earned my respect to that particular New York Pro. And that's when I became a Josh Wade fan. So this guy's a freaking workhorse. He's like a Dorian. He's got it here. I without even talking to you, I could tell looking at it, this guy trains his ass off. Look at that graininess. Look at the muscle maturity, the density. That's hard training. And that condition, you don't get that condition without really suffering. You have to suffer to look like that. So I don't care. Yeah. Let the trolls talk shit all they want. I don't care. You have my respect, and I know a lot of fans out there, they respect what you've done.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. I feel like I do give a lot of people hope. That you can go as far as you want to, really. Yeah. I mean, you might not be able to make that stage, but you can go as far as you want to if you're willing to keep trying to improve. Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, you can't be really indecisive if you're trying to improve. You have a goal, you commit to that goal, and you work everything to get that goal, but once you've reached your goals, then what's next? So, I mean, it kind of has to be, it can't be, indecisive. I'm not sure if I want to, because you're not going to make improvements unless you're certain on your goals and you do everything to accomplish them. I mean, a lot of people know that, but you might not think about it that same way. And, I mean, that's kind of what it boils down to as far as where I'm at. I don't know. I love the sport, and so it's hard for me, I mean, when I still like write my column or where, I still coach plenty of competitors. And I mean, I have the passion because I have the passion to be the best bodybuilder and have the best physique, long before I ever competed. I mean, some people think, oh, I started training, I'm going to compete.
Right.
Well, I mean, I trained solid for 8 years before I ever stepped on stage. And, and that's kind of the difference. I mean, like you said, hashtag GoPro. Everybody thinks like, okay, I started lifting weights. Now I'm going to compete. And guess what? They compete once. Now they're a coach too.
That's right.
So, I mean, it's just, you got to be a realist a little bit, and think, okay, it takes time to build muscle, and so, you don't have to like jump right into it, but you have to have that goal and you have to be committed to accomplish that goal, which means you're putting that discipline and that mind into making sure that you're improving. And every workout is as hard as you can, where now, like my training, how it's a little different. My priorities maybe are a little bit different. I mean, I'm focused on work and financial future. So, I mean, for 20 years, I trained 6 days a week. And when it got closer to competitions, I trained 7 days a week just to make sure food and protein shakes were exactly the same on a daily basis. That way I knew if I didn't want any variables for change. And that's the way that you make improvements, is knowing what you're doing and seeing how it works. But now, like, I mean, I don't train on Wednesdays. I just work solid clients, and then I go home a little earlier than I used to. Fridays, I train 7 clients. I'm done at 1 p.m. I pick the kids up from school every Friday. I mean, these things are a little more important to me now in my time of life, that I really want to appreciate these things. And, I mean, with kind of being stuck and, I mean, locked down for bullshit, it really made me realize, maybe I don't want to miss out on any more time. My kids are at the great age that once we can travel, I want to be able to, and I don't want to be able to, I want to, bodybuilding is not a normal life. I feel like I'm probably one of the most balanced professionals out there. Because I would still coach my kids' sports. Even when I was competing, I would take my meals to every soccer game. Like we have to eat, we have to do that. Right. But I would try to balance it, but it's still not normal. It's not normal.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't you like to be able to go on your vacation with your kids and not have to worry about eating at all? Just eat when they eat. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah,
crazy.
But it's tough. And that's the thing, Ron. That's kind of where I'm at. It's tough. It's tougher than I ever thought. I mean, the structure for 20 years being exactly the same, I'm almost lost without it.
I mean, well, you think that's always, any competitor knows that your whole life is basically fixated on some date in the future that you're going to compete. So I know I'm doing New York Pro next May. Here it is. Here's my off season. This is when I'm going to start my prep. And it's always something that's on the horizon. And without that, yeah, I could see like, what do I do? But you're in a good position where your kids are at an age where now you're able to spend, I don't know how much more time you were spending with prep than you are currently, but it had to be a grind with the extra cardio and always dieting and everything. Most guys that retired and put all that extra time and energy that they would have taken during prep into their family and into business ventures, they all were way better off, as far as I'm concerned, compared to the guys that just kept competing, even though their places were going down and they're tearing muscles. And yeah, I mean, I would never want that to happen. It's not going to happen. I know you're smarter than that, but I don't know. I see exactly where you're at, but I think you're in a good position to grow your business ventures, to spend more time with your kids. You started a flag football league in the middle of a pandemic for kids, because these kids had no sports, right? No
sports. I mean, no events. And I couldn't stand my kids missing out on the stuff that they love. We just found out last year I coached my son's flag football, in an actual sanctioned league, and found out that was his favorite sport. And so we got postponed this year. And I got together with a couple of the coaches that coached the other teams last year. And I started emailing all my players. And I created this league, and I ended up having 42 kids every Sunday, 4 teams. Every Sunday we played an eight league season, a playoff, and then the championship. We went undefeated and we won the championship, you know. But it was a great time. So with that, like, and then like my daughter, ever since my daughter's 9, she's in 3rd grade, but ever since she was in preschool, we had a father-daughter dance. And she looks forward to that event every year and talks about it. Daddy, I can't wait for the father-daughter dance. Well, obviously they weren't doing that. So guess what? I did my own as well. We ended up having about 47 dads and about 112 kids there, or 112 people. I mean, who cares if it's a super spreader event? It's still a fucking cold, Ron. You know, so I mean, it really, it's like they take all these things away from us and think that, you know, we're not going to notice. I'm just not that one. I'm not that one to comply about everything. I'm a rational minded person, but I believe I'm responsible for my own decisions. It's nobody else's responsibility to take care of my kids. That's my job as a parent. And it's your freedom to make your own choices. And that's kind of what I think has turned me a lot this last year. And just realizing I'm more empowered than I ever thought I was. Because I'm not willing to give up my freedoms or somebody tell me what I can or can't do. You know, I mean, anytime that somebody's ever told me that I can't do something before, look at what's happened to me. You know?
Yeah, that's probably the most motivating thing anyone can tell you. You can't do that, Josh. Come on now. You'll never do that.
Exactly. That's exactly it. That's what drives us. You know, that's what should drive people that have pride.
Right.
You know, you have pride and somebody tells you can't do something, just wait, watch. You know, I mean, that's kind of the mentality that I've always had. And I mean, it's not going to change. I mean, I think that's what more people need to be tougher in this world nowadays, is just know that, hey, nothing's holding you back. I don't care what creed, color, race you are. It doesn't matter. It's all equal. You're willing to get it if you're willing to put in the work for it. So I mean, that's the thing. Just work. You know, put it in. If you want something bad enough, I mean, why can't you have it? You can do everything in your humanly possible to try to achieve that. And that's all I've done. And you know, I mean, yeah, there's plenty of more successful people that are around me every day. But I'm successful in my own right because I did it. I'm prideful, and I'm proud of what I have. So, I mean, if you're not proud of what you've done, then you're never going to be successful.
Yeah. So I know you're a really good coach. I've talked to Kim Urbanek. How do you say her name?
Yeah, Urbanek. Yeah,
she's has so many good things to say about you. You know, now that you're going to have, if you stop competing, you'll have a little more time on your hands. Is that something you could get more into? Because I think coaching, there's so many coaches, but there's not a lot of really good coaches. I think, God, there's so many people I know, the kids, they're like 22 years old. They do one show and they all of a sudden I see their coaching. I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? This idiot, whatever. But is that something you could get more into? Would you have a little more time to take on some more clients maybe?
Yeah, I actually have been. I've been getting contacted a lot more frequently. And, you know, I mean, the majority of remote clients, obviously I do personal training locally. But as far as remote clients, I've been doing really good because obviously, I mean, I know condition. I'm healthy. I mean, I believe in life after bodybuilding. So I'm not willing to push the limits if you're not willing to put in the work. So, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, if you're not willing to put in the work, then I'm not the coach for you, because it's not going to be everything, you know, thinking that you can take every drug under the sun and you can basically just do it with no minimal effort. Right. No, you know, it's maximal effort. So, I mean, if you're willing to put in the work, I can get you the most condition possible, continuously improve from show to show. And I mean, I've done that with all the clients that I do have. But I don't care if I don't know all these different foreign compounds and crazy shit, but what's worked is always going to work, and it boils down to effort. So yeah, I mean, I have been getting busier in that manner. And I mean, it's great. I mean, I've learned from some of the best coaches. I did work with Hani. I worked with George Farah, and then John Meadows is my guy, because John is the one that really cares life after bodybuilding, cares about family. I learned so much as far as the coaching from John, that I know how to work with so many different body types, natural athlete or non-natural athlete. I mean, I feel like I'm really good with the natural athletes now, because I do have a lot of them, and that takes a lot more food manipulation. metabolism slowing down, then it's okay. We got to increase carbs, see how the results are every time their appetite increases, bring them back down. So I mean, yeah, I've gained a lot of experience, and it's really tough. Like last year I had a tough time because I had some competitors competing in different shows the same day I was competing. And they were neglected that weekend, obviously.
Right.
It was not intentional, but if I'm busy, I'm on stage or I'm backstage, I can't respond. So yeah, I mean, I feel like there's definitely more time and more attention to detail when it comes to at least the final preparation. I won't be competing on that weekend. So yeah, I mean, things are good, and that's what I'm looking to keep building business. And
they can't even see it. I'm trying to show people your Instagram. It's IFBB Pro Josh Wade. That's where you can contact Josh for coaching services. Or would you rather send him somewhere else? I don't know.
No, that's perfectly fine. If they actually read the column, Ron, then emails in the column as well.
That's right.
But I mean, yeah, most people, I mean, you can, IFBB Pro Josh Wade is pretty easy to remember, if they want to. But yeah, I mean, I think this is probably what's my next chapter.
Yeah, I mean, I think you proved you did more as let me say, you're the only guy who turned pro as a master who's done anything remotely like this. All those top fives, top threes. It's still in the Olympia stage. It's never been done. So, I mean, if you never compete again, I think you can be very proud of what you did in the sport, even though it was only how many pro seasons? Jeez, I don't even know if we want to count 2016. You did that one show, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, really, it was just four seasons as a pro. You did a lot. You did a lot in those 4 years. So
yeah, I got better with every show too, and I think that shows a healthy body. Right. Where I was able to compete 4 times, 5 times in a single season, and be able to improve from show to show because my body responded. Mm-hmm. And that's making sure that your body is healthy and not run down or androgen receptors oversaturated. I mean, that's doing things the right way if you want.
Yeah, and your heart, like you said.
Sport, and for me, that was the most important thing.
Yeah, and if Dante says you're that healthy, man, Dante is like the king of staying healthy and living a long, healthy life. Dante Trudell. So if he made that statement about you, that really says a lot, because I don't think he says that too often about people. I've seen.
Yeah, I send him my lab work just because we're friends, and he has to nitpick anything because it's 98% better than any lab work he ever sees.
Wow.
So
yeah, that's commendable.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what I hope all the young people, listening to this or getting into the sport realize it's a sport of longevity. Anybody that tries to reach that pinnacle in a heartbeat is not going to have a heartbeat.
That's true. It's sad, but true. I mean, geez, I'm 51. You have no idea how many people I know that are dead already.
I know.
It's if I ever sat down and really counted, it would be like, God, over 100, I bet, at least. People that I personally knew, bodybuilders.
And it's heartbreaking. I can't think about my kids. I cannot think about me not being around for my kids.
Right.
So there's nothing more important than making sure that I am.
Yeah. I mean, that's priority. That's having your priorities in order, because, bodybuilding, like you said, there has to be life after bodybuilding, because it's a short window of time. You look great for this little short window of time, but do you want to have a life, especially if you have kids? You got to think about those kids and their future. They need a dad, man. They need their dad.
Yes, sir.
So,
yeah.
Well, man, it's been great catching up with you, Josh. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you work long hours with the clients and the coaching and all that, so definitely appreciate it. Guys, IFBB Pro Josh Wade on Instagram for coaching inquiries. Check him out every month in Muscular Development Magazine in his Relentless Pursuit column, sponsored by Allmax Nutrition. He's got the shirt on right there. I think you have to go to Sacramento to get one. So, but yeah, thank you so much, Josh. It's been good catching up.
Thank you, Ron. It's always great talking with you. I mean, I always appreciate somebody really, really looking out for us guys in the sport and reporting on the facts.
All right. Well, everybody, thanks for watching Ronline Report with this man, Josh Wade. We'll see you next time.